Okay, that was funny. I have the countdown set up to reset every hour, um, or actually, it counts down to the 3 p.m. Sunday live stream, and then it stays at 0. But every hour on the hour, it goes to 0 and then restarts to 59 because it's counting down the hours. It just doesn't show the hours. And so I just realized, hey, I could just use that countdown. But the funny thing is, when it hits 0 for the morning live stream, it just goes right back to 59 minutes, or yeah, 59 minutes, 59 seconds. So yeah, it's almost like, and we're gonna start. Just kidding, we have an hour. No, but we're starting now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday, September 10th. Let's see what's happening in the world today. There's in the U.S. here, there's a presidential debate tonight. The candidates will be debating on stage. The salmon are just starting to run in northern Michigan, up the river, I guess. And the third thing, oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to think stuff that's going on. We did talk about, I won't start until give everybody a chance to join the live stream, but on Sunday, Scott actually mentioned that the guy in charge of Rust in the Linux kernel stepped down, and it was kind of drama. And I don't necessarily cover the drama. I mean, the kernel mailing list is generally always drama, but it's an interesting. It brought up an interesting potential, so we'll talk about that. And then, do I teach Linux? No, generally not. So on Wednesday mornings, I'm going to try to have some curated questions from my YouTube channel, but no. The only day that currently has a format is Thursday, where I draw my comic. But the other days, we're still trying to figure it out. If I can get a news source, I might do Tuesday tech news, but so far no. But I'll happily answer questions on any live stream I'm doing those. So if you have a specific question, I'm happy to answer that. And I do want to talk a little bit about the Rust in the Linux kernel, because it's interesting, I think. I mean, very nerdy, but very interesting. So in, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 more minutes, give anybody else who wants to join a chance to join in. We can talk about it. But if you have any specific questions about Linux, just say the word. I'll happily answer them. And these days, for my day job, I'm actually not teaching Linux for the first time ever. It's really strange for me. I'm teaching Google Cloud stuff, but hey, it's okay. Learning new stuff is always good. Looks like here in northern Michigan, along with the salmon running, we have some much warmer weather moving in. Looks like it's going to be the mid 80s Fahrenheit this week. I kind of like the fall weather, but the main purpose of this stream is honestly just more of an opportunity for our little community to get together and chit chat while I try to figure out exactly what the format's going to be. I didn't want to wait to do the morning live streams until I have everything set up, because I'll just never get them going. So starting the live streams now, and then they'll get a little bit more formatted as time goes on. But that's okay. I mean, if just hanging out's not your thing, I mean, not offended at all. Yeah, like I said, Thursday has a definite format. I draw my entire webcomic from my webcomic series on Thursday morning. And Wednesday has been when I've gone through YouTube questions, but I'm going to try to curate them better. And then, Tuesday has had the least format. And Good Fishy is my daughter. Good morning. And good fishy, I took your dog out this morning already, so she went outside. All right, well, I guess let's talk about, let me see, where's the, I gotta get the, oh, cool. No, that's not right. There we go. All right, I don't know if comments come up on this. I don't think they do. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, so it was on the register. Let's look for it. Register, Rust, kernel. Bite Moose from our live stream kind of gave me the heads up that the register had this article. Here, I'll paste this article into the chat, or the URL if anybody wants to check it out. So this is, this is the article. And basically, if you've ever read about the Linux kernel mailing list, it can be pretty tense. There's a lot of people, many of which don't have the best social skills, in my opinion, trying to say what goes into the Linux kernel. Ultimately, it's Linus. He decides what goes in the Linux kernel and what doesn't. But there's often drama and arguments, and it can be heated. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I mean, rather than just being passive aggressive, it's often just straight up aggressive. But the person who is in charge of adding Rust to the kernel, or maintaining or managing the Rust sections of the kernel, here it says right here, his rationale for resigning from Rust, describing his frustrations, often referred to as bike shedding, arguments over insubstantial matters that derail a more consequential goal. Again, that's just part of how the kernel mailing list goes. But it just brought up, the reason I wanted to talk about it is it brought up a bigger issue when it comes to Linux, and not necessarily Rust, but a memory-safe programming language. So the Linux kernel is written in C and C++, and now Linus, the maintainer of the kernel, has agreed to have Rust implemented in, add it to the kernel, replace other things in the kernel slowly. Rust, the rationale is that Rust as a programming language is memory safe, meaning it won't even compile if there is the potential, or if memory can be, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds about programming languages, but it's a programming language that by design won't allow you to write code that could be like exploited with like a memory buffer overrun. It just makes much safer and more secure code. And it's a lot of work to bring the Rust components into the Linux kernel. And since bringing anything into the Linux kernel can be frustrating, the person who was in charge of it just stepped down. He's like, I just can't do it anymore. This isn't like he's against Linux. He's not against Rust going into Linux. He just doesn't want to be the person in charge of trying to make sure it all happens. But the interesting point that came up is trying to get Rust into the Linux kernel, and keep making different aspects like drivers and modules and stuff memory safe, again, by the design of Rust. He pointed out that if it doesn't get easier, or cooperation doesn't easier, what might end up happening is somebody could just rewrite the entire Linux kernel from scratch in Rust, and there would be a competitor to the Linux kernel, but written completely in Rust. Because if it was started from scratch with Rust, yeah, it's a huge endeavor, but it might be simpler than trying to implement Rust in the Linux kernel as it is now. So rather than trying to, continue to make Rust modules and Rust drivers and stuff in the C and C++ kernel, just start from scratch. I mean, all the code is open source, so it's not like there's a part of the Linux kernel that can't be examined and rewritten. But if it's rewritten from the ground up, there wouldn't be all these compatibility issues and arguments about, well, Rust doesn't belong there. So anyway, could there be potentially something that it would no longer be Linux? Would it be Rustix? I don't even know. But it's possible that there could just be a memory safe Linux kernel and it wouldn't be Linux anymore, but it would still be Linux compatible. So, yeah, I think that's ultimately a bigger concern. Like, yes, I think the Rust maintainer stepping down was just more concerning evidence that something like that might happen. So, yeah, I don't know. And I mean, it takes a very specific type of nerd to be into Linux kernel development stuff, but I'm curious if anybody has any insight on that. I'm not even sure if anybody is still, or if anybody is really here yet. We have a few people in Twitch, and that's okay if you don't have an opinion. But that's the thing that I've been thinking about. Another thing, a little less hardcore nerdy, is the Apple event happened. And so the Apple event that they talk about new products and stuff, and I mean it seems pretty iterative. The iPhone 16 and 16 Pro was announced, and it looks like they have better cameras and they have the AI stuff more integrated. Oh my goodness, good morning. Wow. All right. I have to say, Kate, you came on possibly the nerdiest of the morning live streams. I was talking about Rust in the Linux kernel. That's a bold live stream to come into. But we're past that, so I guess maybe you came into the perfect day. First of all, it's good to see you. So are you an Apple phone user or are you an Android person? I'm an Apple phone user. I'll say that. I mean, I was just talking about the Linux kernel, so you would guess that I would be an Android user, but Apple. Okay, so this conversation. I don't know if you saw the event yesterday, but the phone seems iterative. There's a better zoom lens, I think, on the cameras and that kind of thing. But one thing that really got my interest, and this is showing my age, the Apple AirPod Pro 2 is going to include hearing aid functionality, and it looked like it might even replace a hearing aid. It does like hearing tests, and it will adjust because it has really good noise cancellation. It will, while you're wearing it, allow you to hear the outside world, but also potentially like work as a hearing aid, protecting you from loud noises, but maybe amplifying quieter noises. I'm kind of fascinated about that. I don't need hearing aids yet, but I say what a lot more than I did in years past. So, my hearing is slowly going away. But the thing that makes me wonder is, do you have AirPod Pros? I don't have AirPod Pros. But usually anything that goes in my ear canal, I can't wear them for extended amounts of time. But there are people who say the AirPods are like magical in that you can wear them all day and they don't hurt. So I don't know if that's the case, but obviously if they're going to have hearing aid functionality, you're definitely going to want to wear them all day. But then also, I've wrecked my ears with music, but I have AirPods and they don't hurt. Really? I have really small ear canals too. I always have to use the smallest ear cups that would ever come with, in fact, I usually get ones without ear cups because I hear like these, for example. This is what I use like for conference calls. I don't know if it's going to zoom. Come on, do that cool thing I paid so much money for. Focus on the thing. Anyway, they're just like regular ear pods or whatever. They don't have the silicone cup because that always hurts. But if I do use the silicone cups, they have to be the very smallest ones. So but this is the first time I've actually thought maybe I would like some AirPod Pros. Because right now I use a bone conduction thing that kind of goes over my ear and sits on my little skull bone in front there. And those are nice. And I literally wear them all day. But that's not the same as like, obviously there's no noise cancellation. My ears are wide open with those. And I do like those a lot. But the idea of blocking out really loud noises and potentially acting as a low-key hearing aid, I would really like that. So I'm considering trying them. I don't even know if they're available yet, but the other thing I like about them, and this is true of the last version, not just the one that was announced yesterday, but where Find My iPhone actually works with the AirPods instead of just like they used to work in like if they were in a case, like it would say where they were next to your phone, but I think they actually have the location stuff built into the AirPods now. So like if you drop one in the couch, you can like do the whole like ding 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 and find it. And that's huge because they're so easy to lose. The noise canceling in the AirPods in general is amazing. See, that fascinates me. And I do also have to admit, part of the reason that I don't like things that seal up my ears, not just because they hurt like crazy, although that is the biggest thing, but the idea of noise cancellation, I don't like because while it might be nice to not hear when somebody is calling you or honking the horn at you, it might cause relational stress if Donna's saying, Sean, 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 and my AirPods are happily canceling out the thing too. She's trying to get my attention. So I don't know how I feel about noise cancellation, but if it's the kind of thing you can turn off and then they amplify outside sound, I don't know. I think that it's an interesting notion. But what I don't know is at that point, is it just a less expensive way to get a hearing aid? Because a friend of mine who's an oldie like me, he actually has hearing aids now, but his hearing aids perfectly integrate with his phone. So like, he doesn't have to ever have headphones or anything. And obviously he wears his hearing aids all day, but he'll just, it acts like Bluetooth headset. And I assume the audio is amazing, but I just don't know. I don't know how it works, but it is fascinating to me that the notion of an Apple designed hearing device, because Apple does things usually so elegantly that I imagine, even though my friend has, hearing aids that connect to his phone and he says they're great, I just imagine them being like, third party clunky when it's connecting to his phone. Whereas like if I had AirPods that I could literally wear all day, I mean, I'm a huge user of the like double tap and, I missed that word in the audiobook, double tap on this side and it'll rewind for 15 seconds or something. So I like all of those features, and like you take it out and it'll automatically pause and stuff like that. So anyway, that was the most interesting piece for me. And I didn't watch the entire event, but looking at the synopsis afterwards, I was really honestly kind of stoked about hearing aid AirPods, which, gosh, I mean, now we know how I got Command Gold because I'm so old. But nonetheless, that's it. And my phone, I have an iPod. I have an iPhone 15 Pro, and I no desire or need to upgrade it. I mean, it still works great. It even supports all the AI stuff, which I haven't found any real use case for. The only, and I talked about this in the live stream on Sunday, but the only AI thing that I think is pretty nifty on the iPhone, I've been using the beta iOS versions. In the photo app, there's now a cleanup tool when you're editing a photo, and it does a pretty good job of like if it's a beach photo and there's some like creepy guy in the background. You know, you just like highlight him and it'll remove it and use the generative infill to make sure it looks really gone. So, I mean, that's the coolest thing that I've actually used. But I don't know. I maybe Siri will get more useful, but I just don't find a whole lot of use using Siri. Although I have to admit, my family will often send texts with Siri, and I don't do that. So maybe I should be doing that. I usually just wait until there's a stoplight and then send a quick text. But I don't know. I think AI is largely a big buzzword right now that everybody wants to integrate stuff. That said, Apple tends to do things really well when they do them. They do them like slower than other companies and then tend to do a good job. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about all the AI integration, but I don't think there's a huge reason to upgrade from a 15 or at least a 15 Pro to the new iPhone 16. So probably I will look next year at whatever the iPhone 17 brings. Who knows what that'll be. But I might end up getting AirPods. I haven't gotten AirPods since Gen 1. I have a Generation 1 AirPod set, and somebody borrowed them and lost one. So now I only have one of the AirPods, and I don't ever use them anymore. I still use my, it's not AirShocks anymore. Now it's just Shocks brand. Shocks brand bone conduction headset, which I just find just incredible. I literally wear it all day, and the only issue is now the battery doesn't last as long as it did when I bought it years ago. So I'm kind of due for a new listening I don't know, a new listening device, but maybe it's going to be the AirPod Pro, because honestly, they're just as expensive as, or the Shocks bone conduction headsets are just as expensive as an AirPods Pro. So it's not like it would be that much more expensive. My only concern is wearing the ear cups long term. But I don't know if you're still there, Kate, but yeah, I do trust that you wouldn't just shill for Apple. And if they don't cause you massive pain and you also have small ear canals, maybe it's worth giving a try. What I read was that even people who do struggle with the silicone cups of other stuff, for some reason, the Apple stuff is either softer or like its distance away from the hard plastic part is such that it doesn't somehow cause the same irritation. So I don't know. One nice thing though about AirPods is if they do bother your ears, because like I said, I have the Gen 1 AirPods and they just sit in my ears okay. But after a while, they do still start to hurt. But you can just take one out and still listen, and then after a while swap, and then just listen with one ear. So I'm sure that works with the AirPods. AirPods Pro, passersby, AirPods Pro, AirPod Pros. Probably AirPod Pros, not AirPods Pro. Although I like AirPods Pro. I think that sounds fancier. All right, so that's all I got for tech news. Let's see, today, if you are a book listener and you have similar taste as I do. First of all, if anybody here doesn't know, Cater Cakes, she's just an incredible voice actor. And I still have a video that she agreed to do voiceover work for me in a silly video for Linux Journal. And every once in a while, I'll say, oh yeah, I knew Kate back in the day. She did this silly thing with me. But anyway, let's see. Oh yeah, in book news. So if you are an Expeditionary Force fan, oh, Kate's still there. Yeah, she's awesome. If you're an Expeditionary Force fan, you probably aren't. I think we're an eclectic group. But let me get this down there. I'll switch to the Wacom again. So Task Force Hammer just came out. So if you're not familiar, now book 17, you're thinking, yeah, I'm not getting into that. But Craig Alanson wrote the X-Force, or Expeditionary Force series, and it ended with book 15. He had told the entire story that he wanted to tell, and it was great. I loved it. It's the The narrator is R.C. Bray, who is great, and the writing is lighthearted. It's funny writing. That's my favorite kind of writing, when it's just pleasant and enjoyable. Characters are fun, but not only did he enjoy the universe so much that he didn't necessarily want to stop, but he got a lot of requests from like fans, and I think his wife actually was even keen on there being more books. So there's going to be, after the book 15, 3 more books that he wrote, like another 3-book arc, kind of after the end, and this is the second book in that 3-book arc that he added. So the last book, well, I mean, I should probably put that in quotes, but the last book comes out next year sometime. I think maybe 2026, but I think 2025 sometime. He's a very fast writer. But this is, book 17 just came out this morning. So it's, I have no idea what the premise is, but I'm sure that the universe is about to be destroyed, and Skippy and the Merry Band of Pirates have to save the universe. That's generally the plot of all the books, but like I said, it's fun. Oh yeah, my wife and I share our Audible account, and so she is doing, she's like reviewing stuff for work. She works at a bookstore because that's super awesome. And anyway, but yeah, Expeditionary Force is out today. And if you're a Bobiverse fan, I was at a book club cocktail hour thing last night, and Bobiverse book 5, it came out just recently. I haven't even purchased yet, but Not Till We Are Lost. I am gonna have to go back and read the other books, because I mean, so the first book was released in 2016. Book 4 was released in 2020, but 2020, I feel like it's been 7 lifetimes that we've lived through since 2020. So I don't even remember what happened in this story. So there's only, the 4 books before. So I'll probably reread books 1 through 4 and then read book 5, just so that I'm familiar with the universe. But it's another thing that is a fun series. Basically, Bob gets, his brain is transferred into a computer system, and then he has to save the universe or something. I don't honestly remember all the details, but when they make a copy of his digitized brain, the copies diverge, and so they each get their own personalities. So there's all these Bobs out there, but they're not really like him anymore at all. They diverge really quickly. So, but it's fun. It's just another lighthearted, easy read, enjoyable read, and yeah, it came out the 5th. Yeah, I knew it was recently. It just came out September 5th. So if you're looking for some good fall reads, there you go. And oh, you're working. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I actually have to work today too. It's a blessing and a curse about, I don't know what you're doing these days, Kate, but I work from home, and I've worked from home forever, but now I'm back at CBT Nuggets making training videos now for Google Cloud Platform, which I know nothing about, which makes me, you wouldn't think, an ideal teacher, but I'm pretty good at learning and teaching right away. But nevertheless, so I work at home, and my own schedule and on my own, but I'm easily distracted, and I procrastinate, and now I have diagnosed ADHD, which might be a reason for all of the bad habits that I have in my workday, but it doesn't make it go away just knowing. So yeah, I still working from home too. Yeah, I love it. I don't want to not work from home, but it means that going to work, and I also, you're probably the same. I mean, most people who work from home who have any sort of nerdiness in them, I work from this office. Now, I do have another computer over there that I record work stuff with, but I'm always in the place that I really enjoy being. And so it's more of a challenge to get down to do work. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I have finally started getting back into content creation too. Things like these morning live streams, which the person who was here very first thing was like, "Do you teach Linux in these live streams?" I'm like, no, maybe someday, but the format is still not very well defined yet. I kind of felt bad, but I just miss doing stuff and interacting with people. So the live streams, this is the only time of the week that I could fit in. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I stream from 7 to 8. Thursday is when I draw my comic live, and I haven't drawn my comic in like over a year. So for 2 weeks running now, I've been doing my comic, and that's awesome. That's a really fun thing for me. I can't explain how for like almost 2 years, I drew a comic 6 days a week. I don't know how I did that. I truly just don't, but once a week is a good way to get back into it. So we'll see. But anyway, the morning live streams are just my way of having fun talking to people. Sometimes the people aren't even there, and that might be more fun for them when I talk to the people who aren't there. Let's see. Books. And I can't just, so anybody, it looks like we have like 6 different people watching. And obviously that's a smaller group than the Sunday live streams that I've been doing for years. But, if you were here on Sunday and we were talking about books, I'm positive it didn't happen yet. So, I recently reviewed, fantasy series. It's not a new fantasy series at all, but it's called Rhyria. And Rhyria is it's Elvish for 2 or something like that, but it's Rhyria Revelations was a 3-book, it was originally 6 smaller books, but 3-book series about 2 friends. They reminded me of the friends from that movie, the animated movie Road to El Dorado. There was like the blonde guy and the brunette guy, and they're silly and funny and have good chemistry, and they're very different. That's what the characters, the main characters of the Rhyria series reminded me of. And I liked it, and I read it and reviewed it well. And then I left well enough alone. I was fine. There's other books in the universe, but they're prequels, and I usually don't like prequels. I think that they're, I just don't generally like prequels. But I have a coffee subscription to a local roaster in Traverse City, Michigan here. And my card didn't go through. Like for the regular subscription, I had to replace my card or update the card. And the billing person emailed me and said, "Hey, just so you know, you have to put a new card in. This one's not working. And also, I saw your domain name in your email, and it was interesting. It's brainofsean.com. And I went to your blog, and I was reading stuff, and I see that you read Rhyria." And she said, "Now hear me out. You have to read all the prequels." And I was like, oh. If somebody actually recommends a book, like I kind of have to give it a try. A personal recommendation, even if I didn't know this person. But nonetheless, she said that the prequels are amazing. And so I got the Rhyria Chronicles, which it's currently a 4-book series that takes place. It's like the backstory of the characters in the Rhyria Revelations, which was published first. Anyway, that was a lot of words to say. She was right. I'm like halfway through the first book, and it is a prequel done right. I actually, it's characters that I know from the series that I read, but it's backstory that was hinted to in the original story, but it's fleshed out, and it's so good and well written. So yeah, if you are a fan of Rhyria, and it's Michael Sullivan, I think. Michael J. Sullivan is the author. And the Rhyria Revelations are the first published book, and my recommendation and the author's recommendation is to read that first. But then the prequel series is the Rhyria Chronicles, and I'm halfway through the first of 4 books, and it is really well written. Couldn't be happier with it. So yeah, if you're looking, and I'm listening to the audiobooks. Most of my reading is done with audiobooks anymore, just because I can, you know, procrastinate. I mean, I can, if I go downstairs to get a glass of water, I can listen to 3 minutes of an audiobook and then come back up and work, and or come back up and keep listening for another 20 minutes while I drink that water. But no, listening to audiobooks is how I consume most content these days, and they're fun. There's also the Rhyria Chronicles also has a graphic audio version, which is not the version I have. The original narrator that did the Rhyria Revelations, that first published series, is the same narrator that does the Rhyria Chronicles, and that's how I know the characters now, weirdly. So it's tough to switch narrators when you already know them, and it's the same characters. And the prequel, the pre part of that is like not, thousands of years. It's the same characters. It's just before the other story starts. So anyway, yeah, I don't know what brought that up other than we're talking books, but that is a lot of fun. Also, anybody who doesn't know, I have braces that hurt me all the time, so I have wax shoved in my bottom lip. I'm not really like chewing tobacco and trying to talk through it. My slightly slurred speech is due to braces and wax, and I only have 27 more years to wear these braces. That's an estimate based on how much my teeth are still messed up, but I'm looking forward to them going away. And I have to admit, it's a little bit disconcerting that sometimes I'll be slurry because of the stuff in my mouth. And I make a living with my voice, and to a lesser degree my face, thankfully to a lesser degree my face. So I have to, sometimes I'll be recording for my day job and I'm like, wow, that just sounded like I was talking through a spoonful of mashed potatoes, and I'll have to like start over. So that part is truly annoying. But yeah, I oddly enjoy being on camera and microphone. And normally that just makes me sound terrible, but Kate is here today, and she is somebody who a large part of her life has been behind a microphone. So hey, I'm not alone in that regard. Kate, I don't know if you're still listening or if you're working and not paying attention, which would be good. If that's the case, you can't hear me, good on you for getting to work. But I'm curious if you are one of the people who can easily fall into a hole talking about like audio recording equipment with people. Like this is my RE20 microphone, which I for some reason like, but I also have like the Shure SM7B on my other desk, and sometimes I think that it sounds a little fuller and richer, and I can't decide which one I like better. But and I have like 100 different audio interfaces that I have used over the years. Do they make me sound better? No. Do I really, really like nerding out about audio and to a lesser degree video equipment? Yes, I do very much. Constantly changing, upgrading things as money allows to get a better sound. Yeah, so same, but also I'm not sure if some of the changes I make are for better sound or just different. And then I don't know, but so I'll talk about interfaces now. My current audio interface here is it's a Rodecaster Duo. It's got like, I mean, I can't really show it on camera, but it's the Rodecaster Duo. It's pretty cool. I like that it does a really great job of combining digital things where I can patch different things like the headphones versus the secondary headphones, which are what I use for my speakers. And then, but it also has physical sliders, which I thought I would use all the time, and I don't. Envious of how good I sound. Oh, that's incredibly sweet. I've always been a bit envious of how you always sound. So there, right back at you. Also, I got something that would do cool things like
monster effects, which have absolutely no real value other than it's fun. And right now, I don't even get to hear it. It's just going on stream. But I don't have any monitors in my ear, so I can't even hear my monstrous sound.
But yeah. But anybody else there? Kate actually does voice work. Like that's the thing. It's just her voice. It's just so cool. Me, the voice is just the way that I get the teaching across. But I mean, yeah, I guess the grass is always greener. But so the RE20, I don't know how much nerding you like about different microphones, but this RE20, it's claim to fame. It's not a new microphone. It's a very old microphone, but it has what they call it variable D. And so supposedly when you get really close to it, it doesn't have that booming voice of God effect. I mean, it's louder and probably a little bassier, but not as much as like if you crowd the mic on a normal microphone. And I don't know if I like that or not. Sometimes I like the effect of like, this is God, really closely. And this has a lesser effect of that. This is also the mic that Fraser uses for whatever reasons, but it's not a new mic. It's a very old mic that they still make. And then, see, I could talk about microphones and audio stuff, but the other really nice, so this is a really nice mic I have. I think it's really nice. I mean, it's not like super high end, but this one, and then the SM7B, the mic that like everybody seems to use. It's the Joe Rogan mic, if you're, that he uses for his guests. But the other one that I have, and I haven't really used it much except for a test here. Might have it handy. I'll get it out. It's show and tell. Yeah. But like, seriously, audio equipment everywhere. So when we had a stage at the barn that we had, I always would just get the Shure like stick mics. Like this is the 58 beta, but like the Shure, what is it? The standard one, I can't even think of the letters. But this is what they use at Twit TV. It's the Heil PR40. It's kind of a cool looking mic, and it's a mic that you talk into it looks like you talk into the side of it, but this one is actually you talk into the front of it. It does sound really nice, but I didn't think that it sounded any better than the other like spendy mics. So I haven't really used it, but if I ever make friends that are local and I have to set up like, multiple microphones, I'll probably won't have matching microphones. Like somebody will have the Heil microphone. But like if you ever watch Twit TV and like the main, I mean, not when I was on it. When I was on it, I had whatever I had. But their main hosts would always get sent this microphone. Leo Laporte was a friend of the guy who designed them, I guess. And so that's Leo Laporte always uses that mic, and he would send it to his show hosts. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. That's all I have to talk about audio equipment, because the 6 people who are still here would leave if I just kept talking about it. But yeah, and then I could talk about video stuff, but I won't. No, I will. I got nothing else to talk about, and I got 15 minutes left. So this microphone, or this camera, is cool because it has built-in tracking, which I just find fascinating, and I have so little use for it. The only time it's useful is, the only time that the tracking is something that I'm glad I have, was when I'm doing this, so that if I have to come down to the Wacom tablet to draw and I come back up, it like adjusts and puts me in the little circle. But for the most part, you don't need much for a camera. And anybody who is considering making content, like anybody who's like, sometimes my nephews watch, if you want to be a YouTuber, video is so much less important than audio. Audio quality is so important. And you probably don't even realize it or think about it. But if you are watching a video on YouTube and the audio quality is bad, unless it's like a certain situation where the audio quality being bad is part of the thing, and that's a very rare situation. But for the most part, if audio quality is bad, you don't want to watch it anymore. But video quality can be and as long as the audio quality is good, people generally will stay listening to it. And we have to go on a field trip, everyone, because it's not even it's not even 8 a.m. and the dog is barking like crazy. So let's try this to see if it's going to work. It worked last time. Yes, Zoe, we hear you, or I do at least. All right, let's see. Is this going to work? All right, let's see. Is this going to work? All right. And I think the audio still works. So let's go let the dog in. Let's go on a trip to the back door. Our senior dog is getting so old. I don't know why it's so blurry. Maybe it's phone. All right. Zoe. Please stop barking. Phoebe, you too. Come on. Yeah, I will get you food and water, but it's still early. All right. Well, that's what I think it is. That fancy Rodecaster Duo that I have. Last week, the audio quit working on the secondary feed, and I spent so long trying to figure it out, I just had to turn it off and turn it back on. Hopefully the audio worked there. Otherwise, it just got to go for a silent walk with my head. But, yeah. All right, mobile camera. Yay. All right, what else is going on? Not a whole lot. So tomorrow is, tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow's live stream, I will try to have some curated questions and comments from YouTube. Last week when we tried to do that on Wednesday, it just looked like I was trying to puff myself up because every comment that happened to come in was like, Sean, you're so great. Sean, thank you for the training. Sean, you're just so engaging and funny and educational, and it was a little embarrassing for me. So I'm going to try to curate some that are actual questions or concerns or interesting stuff. Also, if anybody was there last Wednesday when we were going through comments, and there was a comment, and the comment was just Clementine Pike, and I could not figure out what on earth that meant, or if it was spam, what the spam meant, or why. Like it seemed like a thing that might mean something. It turns out all of the tech teaching channels out there were getting inundated with spam, where it was just like random names, and it's still happening. I'm getting a lot of them now, but that was the only one I had gotten. Basically, it's just like the spam is a string of people's names and or random words. Nobody knows why the spam is happening. You know, who knows what the rationale is. But Clementine Pike meant absolutely nothing. It was just randomized two words that were in a spam comment. But I don't know, the two words just seemed real enough that they might have meant something. And so I'm like looking through the video that it was attached to, like, Clementine Pike, is that an answer to some weird question that I asked in the video? No, it was just spam, just plain spam. But now Clementine Pike lives in my brain rent free, and I can't imagine it's going to go away because, I don't know, it's unique enough. So, I mean, it was like Clementine Pike. Is that, Star Trek? Is that Captain Pike's niece? Is she, maybe she's half Ferengi? I mean, these are the questions that I think we need to know about Clementine Pike. Maybe this is a whole new Star Trek spinoff that we're going to have. No, we're not. That's not what it's going to be. Based on my influence on the Star Trek universe and all of the people I know at Paramount who are zero, that is not going to be a thing. So fear not, Clementine Pike will just fade away into that rent-free spot in my brain. But yeah, I guess we've reached the end of all the things I can think to talk about. I feel bad just keeping people online when I don't have a real great format yet. So as always, if anybody has ideas for a consistent format for Tuesday and Wednesday, these are still the 2 mornings that I'm looking for an ideal format. Like I said before, why did I start if I didn't have a format? Because if I had to wait for myself to come up with a perfect format, I would never have started. So now I have the guilt of meandering live streams 2 days a week that I need to try to dial in, and all those other efficiency words: dial in, streamline, focus. Yeah, all those buzzwords. I need to figure that out for Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's see. I was going to do tech news. I just don't have a great source for tech news other than, like I said, the Scott from Sunday's live stream told me about that Linux kernel Rust situation, and Apple released all their stuff yesterday, but I don't have a great source for tech news. And then I thought about recording, like record myself recording. It was, Wednesday, like, oh, it could just be a meta stream of me recording YouTube content, because I haven't had a chance to make content for YouTube in a very, very long time. But I don't know that that is a great way to start the morning. I haven't had enough caffeine at 7 a.m. to start making actual, like, training content. So I don't know. I don't necessarily want to do that either. So until I can figure it out, we're going to get book talk and nerd talk, audio equipment talk when Kate's around. Yeah, that's going to be about it. But Thursdays we have a plan, and it's been so much fun. I actually am so excited that I'm doing my comic again. And I was worried I wouldn't be able to draw the characters, but it turns out when your characters are just squares without arms, because you can't draw arms, that getting back into the comfort zone of drawing characters is a lot easier. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to cut this live stream short. Why, you ask? Because I really have to go to the bathroom. And if I go down to the bathroom, then I come back, it's going to be like 2 minutes until the end of the podcast, or not podcast, the live stream. And that seems a little bit much. Like, oh, please stand by for 2 minutes of further nothingness. But this week I will be making video for my day job, and I still have the permission to stream that, and that is really just to keep me on track. So those are not exciting. I just, that's just like the virtual water cooler. If you want to hang out there, I don't always respond to chat messages really quickly, but I'll stream them in the same places, my secondary YouTube channel and Twitch. And yeah, I'll do that. I don't know if it's going to be today. I have to learn this stuff before I can make content on it. But that's going to be this week, hopefully. I just went fishing yesterday. I didn't even do any video work during the day. I went fishing, but I thought really hard about it. No, that's not true. But yeah, I do need to get some work done. So have a great day, everyone. And I will be around tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. If you just want to hang out while you start your day, please do so. I'll try to have a couple curated YouTube questions or comments or something that we can go over. And if anything else interesting comes up, I'll talk about that too. If you have something you'd like me to talk about, just drop me a message, because I have no format for Tuesday or Wednesday. That said, I'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday. Have a great day.